Hello, everybody. This is Teen Title Talk with Erin
and Courtney.
This is the podcast
where two librarians discuss two YA books every 2 weeks.
Today, we'll be talking about the books With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo
and 5 Feet Apart by Rachael Lippman.
Before we do that, we have to dip into the Jar of Teen Angst. So I had a little question. I actually put one in because we've been doing the Derry time capsule mystery. We've been just enveloped by it.
Love this saga.
Can't figure out where it is at all. So if you want to read about that, listeners, you can do so on our website at derrypl.org. But I was wondering if you had any local mysteries that you ever investigated as a teen, or if there was anything really mysterious that had happened that you were interested in. No, nothing at all.
I can say it pretty definitively. No, not really. I think I mean, like, things like Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
And, books like that, sort of like, these are kind of Scooby-Doo mysteries, if you will, the case of the missing time capsule.
Yes.
Never happened to me in real life.
Yeah. I mean, me neither, really. There was one that terrified me. That was I worked in the theater and I was always doing the lighting, and I had heard that someone fell from and died and they'd fallen from the catwalk.
Oh, so what?
So then
did you have to find?
I didn't know. The thing was basically like no one talked about it. So in that sense, it was a mystery. Like as soon as it was brought up, it was also very quickly.
Oh, so it was
silenced.
Probably true.
I think maybe, and so it was that. Obviously, maybe was clearly upsetting for the teachers and anybody who had remembered it. So so if it was true, I never found out the answer to it. But
did you do investigating?
I didn't really, because I was so terrified.
You can now.
Because I know. So I might go back and look. I was just thinking maybe I could find that out.
Like at a newspaper.
But at the time, it was just like, because I was always up on the catwalk anyway.
So they fell off it, or did the catwalk break?
I don't know.
Oh my
I don't know. It's a mystery. Yeah. And then the others were just probably of my own making. Like, what's this? But really,
well, yeah.
Everybody else already knew or something.
I think when you're young, the whole world is exciting.
Exactly. Like my dad got a sword that he picked up on a field trip in Spain, I think, when he was in high school. And so that sword to me was, of course, like this mythic, fantastical, cool sword. And he was just
Swords are cool.
It also had like an inscription on it that I didn't understand. I don't know if it was in Latin or what.
Did he get it inscribed or did he buy it?
It was that way.
What does it say?
I don't know. I have to go look at it. I'll have to check it out.
Now I want to know.
It's still in the closet, I think. So.
Okay, well.
Easy enough. Did you doodle or take notes?
Oh, yes. I was a big time doodler.
Really? And
yes.
What did you doodle?
So I
did you like see people and draw them, or
no? I was more like abstract doodles. So like all along the margin of all of my papers would be like I'd use the lines as sort of a guide. I often draw diamonds. I don't know why, but it's like a thing. I find it.
I understand.
Very soothing.
Yes.
So like I would just draw like over and over again diamond shapes. And then I would usually color, I'm boring. I usually color them in checkerboard style.
Okay.
And then in the like not totally colored in ones, I would make little designs.
Interesting.
So like that would be like one way of doodling.
And
then another thing I enjoy doing is like swirlies.
Yes.
So just
spirals again and again.
Again and again.
That's so funny. I was similar. I did stars. That was my like go-to. Just tons of stars all over the paper. And then also those ones that look, you do like 3 lines at top and then 3 on the bottom. And then you make and then also the cubes.
Oh, how could I forget the cubes?
I'm talking about? Yes.
How could I forget?
So that was just all over all of my papers. My friend Tristan was like doodling full pictures of dogs and lamps, and she'd just have pictures of things, and I had stars.
One time at a job, I was really bored because there was nobody. Like I was the only person who worked there at night. It was when I was working at a hospital, and I would doodle like. I was into like working on my shading. So I was doodling a lot of eggs. And I would throw them away at the end. And then, so my aunt worked there at the same desk, but in the morning. And I worked in the evening.
And she found one?
And she was like, I found this drawing of an egg.
Wow.
I thought it was pretty good. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you didn't yell at me for doodling all day.
Well, no, you can think while you're doodling.
Gotta keep yourself awake.
That's right. And when I was doodling, I was listening. It's not like if I wasn't doodling, I actually was not listening. I was zoning out. It's like if my pen was moving, I was listening. That's why I like to doodle. You're the opposite.
That works for a lot of people, but
not so much
for me. I really am not paying attention if I'm doodling.
You are so bad, Courtney. All right, next question. No, this one isn't really a question. We were both... both seriously had more stuff to say about Little Women and 1984 at the end of last one. So I was wondering if there was just something you were dying to say that you didn't get to say about Little Women last time.
Okay, so I finished it.
Okay.
And all I have to say is I thought the ending was great.
Okay. You were happy with how...
So happy that Joe did not end up with Lori.
Right.
Who I think...
was a little obnoxious, you said.
Is obnoxious. He's an obnoxious rich kid, and I'm glad that... Amy ends up with him.
Cool.
I think they're meant to be together.
All right.
And I'm really happy about the professor that Joe ends up with.
Yeah,
and,
I thought it worked out.
And their life and that last scene when they're having a party for Marmee.
I thought that was great.
Oh my gosh. Could you end on a better note? No.
I don't think so.
So anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
All right. Well, that's great.
So I didn't like Lori.
You were over
I don't get
They kind of make him a heartthrob
like
in a way.
Heartthrob. He's not. He's just annoying.
He's friend.
He's fine.
All right.
But he's annoying. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
All right.
Did you have final parting words?
I don't know. I kind of got over it. But with 1984, I did want to say that, I felt like the complete dystopian government wouldn't happen as easily. I want to say this is true here, present day, because I think, and this, you're giving me a skeptical look, that Americans have a rebellious streak based on our history. But maybe that's not true. I think we can easily be lulled into apathy.
Okay.
But I want to say it would be like herding cats.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
No one would be on the same page. Everybody would be running in their own direction.
If right now is any indication, you're right.
But... bad things surely could happen. It's just the 1984 government was extremely organized and had control of a lot of things, it seemed like. But I think there would be, I don't think anybody's really in control here. No one's.
That could be. But bad things are happening.
I know. Oh, yeah. I agree with that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of organization in that government.
Yeah, that's true.
And that this and anything that we've seen
true. It's hard to get
is nothing.
On the same page here.
Yeah. No organization. Yeah, exactly. So let's move on to books. Right. What did you read this time around?
I read 5 Feet Apart. And it centers around 2 main characters, Stella and Will, who are both older teens living with cystic fibrosis.
It's rough.
It is. They meet at a hospital where Stella has been treated for her whole life, but Will is new patient.
Okay.
And so she sees him. She's instantly doesn't like him, but then you know exactly how it's all going to go.
But then she loves him.
Yes. Okay. They fall for each other, but their love is dangerous.
Well,
because CFers, at least according to this book, cannot be less than 6 feet apart.
Oh, really?
From each other
I didn't realize
due to medical risks. They can give each other. Getting sick is really dangerous for them because your lungs produce too much mucus.
Did it talk about what cystic fibrosis entails then?
Yeah, so they do go. It does go into a lot of the detail of your everyday treatment involves wearing a vest that vibrates really hard to try and jiggle out some of the mucus that's in your lungs and stuff.
Okay.
And it's basically you're kind of slowly drowning in your own mucus.
No. Okay.
It's really
awful. Okay.
And awful. And it does mean that your life expectancy is a lot shorter.
Okay.
But Will has this extra complication called besapecia, which is a bacteria that not only is antibiotic resistant. It actually feeds on antibiotics.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and that's extremely dangerous for people who have cystic fibrosis. And so, like, their love is even more forbidden.
Oh, my gosh. So is it untreatable, basically?
Yes.
Or, oh, gosh. Okay.
So it's your Romeo and Juliet situation. Star-crossed lovers who, due to the powers beyond their control, are doomed to never actually be together.
Oh, my God. That sounds awful.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
Okay.
So anyway, tell me about...
With Fire on High, it focuses on Amani Santiago. She's a high school mom who lives with her grandma, abuela. She calls her abuela. She loves to cook. She gets a chance to take part in a culinary arts program at her school, and she meets her teachers are wonderful. She has a lot of good teachers, actually, which I really appreciated in the book. And basically, it really, I want to say change her life, but at least gives her a great leg up in life. This culinary arts program was a game changer for her. So it's contemporary. It's got great recipes in it. It's really a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Let's talk about yours first, though. I know mine's really feel good. Yours does not sound feel goodish.
Yeah.
So I want to start with my burning question, which is, I know that a lot of the time when characters in a book have a condition like cystic fibrosis, their character sometimes is eclipsed by the condition. So how were the characters in the book? What were they like? Did they feel whole to you? Was it really all about the disease?
In some ways, it kind of had to be a lot about the disease,
right?
Because
it was engulfing them.
The thing that looms so large in their lives and in the lives of the people who love them.
Okay.
But still, I would give this like a meh on characters.
Okay.
I finished the book yesterday morning, and when I was like preparing for these questions, I couldn't even remember their names.
Oh.
So I know. Okay. So I don't think that bodes very well. I remember a lot about their illness, though.
Okay.
So yeah, some of it can't be helped because it like totally takes place in a hospital.
Okay, right.
Everything about their lives is run by like hospital schedules and stuff. But they were fine. But I think that they were eclipsed somewhat by their conditions. I think also, so Stella is supposed to be the primary main character.
Right.
And we get more of her sort of inner dialogue. It goes back and forth in the chapters between Stella and Will's perspective.
Right.
But I think she's supposed to be the main person. And she just really doesn't have a lot. Like, she doesn't have a rich inner life. She's not given a rich inner life,
gotcha.
I should say.
Yeah.
Like, Will has all, like, he's an artist who, like, sort of draws his feelings, and he's just, like, he's kind of reckless. And at the very beginning, we see him like literally standing on a precipice, the top of the hospital, like wondering what it would be like to just like.
So his wants and his passions are there on the page, and hers are
there, and she's just kind of like blah. Like, everyone loves her, but I don't know why.
Oh, God.
She's described as the glue that holds everyone together, but you don't really see that that's happening, you know?
Okay.
So, anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So.
She was just kind of blah.
Okay. How about as far as plot? So, with contemporary novels, and we've had this conversation before, sometimes that, you know, all of the action and the plot is very mundane. It's real life. And that's obviously for a reason. Did this all take place at the hospital? Was enough happening to keep you interested? I mean, there's clearly tension from the inevitable.
Yes. So, I mean, Stella is a list keeper. That's one of her, like, quirks. That's supposed to make her feel
in control,
fully rounded.
Okay.
But yes, this is one of the ways she stays in control is by making lists. And so one of the things on her list, the very bottom one, is like, contemplate the afterlife. So there's this death is kind of like this looming, constant presence in the room. And they talk about it a lot. There's a lot of it happening in the book. And, but, you know, that's fine. But so everything happens within the hospital except for one really important scene that happens at the end. And I actually think it's fine. Like, hospitals are kind of weird and cool, and they lend themselves
That's true. There's an interesting setting for sure.
There's life and death happening there literally every day at different times. A baby's being born. Someone
the full
is dying.
circle of life is in there, right in there.
Yes.
Okay, yes, that's
true. And there's like hallways and stairwells and elevators and nooks and crannies and different buildings. And so there's all kinds of places to go and things to do within that setting that makes it kind of interesting. Not to mention this built-in tension of having to stay 6 feet apart from each other.
Right.
All the time.
Right. Which I'm guessing doesn't last.
Well, it kind of does and it kind of doesn't. So, like, she's a YouTube star also, which gets like a 1-sentence mention.
It seems like it would be taking up some time. And
you would think. She gets like millions of views.
Holy crap.
She's like YouTube famous.
Okay.
And you barely even know this about her.
Okay.
Yeah, like Will finds out about it. It's hard to juggle all of it, I know. Will falls in love with her by watching all of her YouTube videos after he first meets her because he like Googles her to find out who she is. And she's got videos from when she was like 13 up until like she's 17.
Wow.
And she talks about living with CF.
Yes.
She's a beacon of hope for all these people. And like really it gets like 3 sentences in the whole book.
Oh, okay.
So anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, so they're supposed to stay 6 feet apart at all times. She makes a whole video about how she's in love with Will and she's reclaiming that 1 foot. So they're going to be 5 feet apart.
Okay.
Instead.
And that's why it's called 5 feet apart.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So some critics have mentioned that side characters, specifically Poe, are a bit tropey and stereotypical and seem to only advance the plot of the main characters instead of having an arc of their own. Did you pick up on this? What do you think could have made it better?
I actually think Poe's story would have been a more interesting book.
Oh, really?
So would Will's, which is annoying. I think the male characters just got way better details, but back to Poe.
Okay.
Poe has a weird vibe. He does not feel totally real. Okay. Like, he doesn't feel fully fleshed out.
Is it because he's not on screen as much, or
exactly.
is it something else?
We're just not seeing a lot of him. Okay. And what we do see is they're supposed to feel very familiar together, but it's hard for that. It's not in like an earned feeling.
Right. Gotcha.
He's supposedly Stella's best friend, but we only know that because she says it. It's never really obvious from what she does or how she acts. Like writing teachers will often tell you, like, show, don't tell.
Of course.
There's a lot of telling.
Yes.
So Poe is like, he's of Colombian heritage. His parents were recently deported back to Colombia.
Okay.
Now he's a ward of the state.
Oh, my God. This is an intense amount of stuff.
His mom is trying to scrounge up money for him to come home and visit. He has cystic fibrosis. He loves Gordon Ramsay. He's like this crazy good chef. Everybody loves what he cooks. He's had a ton of boyfriends because he's scared to be alone, but he has a problem with commitment. His most recent boyfriend, like, he loved him a whole lot, but he felt like he needed to break up with him because he's just going to die and he doesn't want Michael to feel that weight.
So he sounds like a really likable character, but you just don't get to see his story play out.
No, you just like hear these details. Like, Stella just will tell you, like, this is happening in his life. And he doesn't really get to be a part of that
that's
very interesting, really compelling story.
Interesting.
So it's like kind of a weird... It's
dynamic. That is
a weird dynamic.
Very weird. Okay. Yeah. That might not have panned out very well. So obviously spoilers ahead, but I feel like people know the ending of this maybe. How did it end? And did it have all the feels?
Of course it has all the feels. It has so many feels. But I felt about this how I felt after I read My Sister's Keeper. Okay. Which was angry.
Oh, okay. So not just bawling your eyes out, wishing everybody was fine and together.
I mean, like I actually did shed a little tear.
Okay.
It's very emotional.
Okay.
And all the emotional things happen in like one chapter.
Oh.
Where it's just all like, it's laying it on.
Okay.
Really thick.
It's like a Lurleen McDaniel. But is that the one that used to write for Lurleen McDaniel? All this sad.
Yeah, so it seems like sort of like glorifies illness, I guess, in a way. Or at least tragedy.
Right.
So like the part where they finally get outside the hospital, it happens because, spoiler, turn it off now if you don't want to hear what happens. Poe dies.
Oh, no.
I know. And all at once, Stella realizes the life is short and she has to
Well, she knows that though.
I know,
come on.
She does. So that's why it's
okay.
She realizes she has to get outside and she has to stop with her regimen and her lists because nothing she can do. The world is out of her control.
Okay.
And so she has to just now go with the flow. And so she, in the middle of a snowstorm, in the middle of the night, leaves the hospital to go walk 2 miles with her lungs that only work at 35% capacity.
That doesn't seem great. No.
To see some holiday lights in a park.
Oh.
And even Will, who is a reckless person, recognizes this is a bad idea. But of course he goes with her because they're in love. And along the journey to this park, they're getting closer together. They're holding hands. They're...
taking the risks
because this is the only life we have, that kind of thing. And then another spoiler, they're on thin ice, literally, and she falls in the water.
What?
Has a near-death experience / she actually dies.
Okay.
Sees her sister as a ghost. And then her sister tells her to come back to life.
What?
She does. She gets a lung transplant, and then she can never be with Will again. Because of his besaphasia.
That's not... What?
And then
what?
At the very end, it's she goes to the Sistine Chapel.
What?
Because she always wanted to go there with her sister, who, another spoiler, is dead. And she sees Will at the, Italian airport.
Courtney.
And then she's with her friends, and she's just and they just wave to each other. And he looks gaunt and sick and half dead. And she's full of life because of her lung transplant. And she just waves to him and is she gets a warm, fuzzy feeling over the love that could have been. I know.
Okay. All right.
I know. I'm yelling.
All right.
Sorry,
I don't know.
listeners.
I don't know. I'm going to ask, does it deserve to be on the bestseller list? Or do you think that it's there because of the popularity of Fault in Our Stars?
Because of all I just described, I'm not surprised that it's on the bestseller list.
There's a lot of twists. There's a lot going
on. And I think people who like The Fault in Our Stars, people who like books about people who are ill-fated. And there are...
It's sort of... Yeah, I guess.
I think there are people
There's something romantically tragic about it. And
there is.
There's a feeling there.
But I don't like it. I kept yelling. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
But you know what?
Thing after another.
As a teen, I think I would have loved this, though. There's just something so romantically tragic about it. I loved Romeo and Juliet.
I've always hated Romeo and Juliet.
So you would not have loved it.
I was not meant for this book. It's not for me. But that's okay. If you love Romeo and Juliet, you will love this.
And if you love The Fault in Our Stars, I think it kind of sounds like you would love this.
Yeah. If you love My Sister's Keeper, you'll love this. Okay.
All right.
So it has its readers.
All right. Sounds good. Let's talk about With a Fire on High.
Okay. Let's please talk about it. Straight up. Oh, wait. That was your question. Straight up and ask. You already asked that. Okay. Horn book list, Publishers Weekly, School Library Journal. With the Fire on High is getting crazy good starred reviews in all of these.
Yes.
So there's a lot of hype, I guess you could say.
Yeah, a little bit.
Does it live up to its good marks?
I think it did. I was immediately drawn into the story. It had cozy food feels. A little splash of romance. The characters were rich and deep, which is one of my number one things that makes me love novels. Is that I want the characters. I want to feel like I know them.
Yes.
The story is definitely evocatively told. Beautiful turns of phrase. A lot of heart feel. It checks all the boxes. And so I'll obviously be recommending it highly, right and left.
Excellent. Love that. So how do you pronounce her name?
Imani.
Imani. Okay. So there's a lot going on in her life. Lately, mostly because I was reading 5 Feet Apart.
Right.
There are some times that authors seem to just cram their characters with these like fill in the blank quirks, to make them feel real, but it actually just ends up feeling contrived.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, like a lonely girl who loves skateboarding, but she's also super type A, but her sister is dead, you know, like that type of thing.
Yes.
So, and I felt that a lot in 5 Feet Apart. So I'm wondering about the characters. You mentioned you love good characters. So, like, do they feel sincere? Are they more than their quirks?
Yes. So I'd say that she does a wonderful job with character and they feel whole and authentic. So it's less about quirks with the characters, I think, in this case, than it is about what their passions are or what their relationships are. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, Amani's a mom. She's a student. She's a daughter. She's wrestling with her relationship with her absent father. She meets a new boy. She has her best friend, Angelica. She calls it Jelly, who she loves and she supports. She's everything to everyone. And we see her kind of caught up in the balance of all of this. It's less about like, oh, she's really funny and unique because she does this thing, except her one main passion is cooking. And such a big feature in the book that makes her feel like, you know, she could go into this. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's also that she's struggling and balancing with all these other things. It has really short chapters, which I loved. And I think it helped me get a little glimpse into all these different aspects of her life. Like 1 minute she's cooking dinner for her best friend, and her best friend's girlfriend. And it's kind of the special thing she's doing for them. Then the next minute snaps to her to having this conversation with her daughter's father, Tyrone, who was not one of my favorite characters. Although he was trying to stand up, be a little bit more responsible at the end. But you just see these little glimpses. It's like a flash into these moments, which really helped, I think, build them slowly, but helped make it really palatable. And then also Buela, who I was like, oh man, okay, she's grandma, and that's pretty much her role. And she's also she's really grandma and mom to Amani, but then she's also grandma to Amani's daughter, Emma. And that felt like for a while that was all she was, except for then she did have this lovely thing happening at the end that you kind of saw glimpses of throughout, which is where she was going to the doctor a lot. And I was like, oh no, she's just like sick and she's working all her life and she's taking care of all these people. But really she's falling in love with the office manager at the doctor's office. So she gets this full arc. Story. And she was just talking about how she, sometimes she wants to get out and feel like Gloria and not just Buela. And it felt so authentic to me that moment and that conversation. So, short chapters interspersed with all of these people that make up her life.
I love that.
It really worked. It came together really beautifully.
Oh, that sounds awesome. So, Abuela's experience actually, so she's spent her whole life,
yes,
being a mother. So let's talk about motherhood for a second.
Yes.
One of the things that I found surprising about my own experience with motherhood is like this temporary loss of self.
Yes.
Where it took me a while to get back to feeling like me. Mm-hmm. How does Imani navigate motherhood, especially when she has a lot of other stuff to juggle?
So this was the one thing that I'm going to say I didn't relate to. I didn't relate to her relationship to motherhood because, I know a lot of people have different experiences with motherhood. Some live for motherhood. Some love it. Some are really chill and relaxed mothers. But I am feeling, the same. You mentioned the temporary loss of self. That's more where I was too, especially when the little ones were littler. And I just have one, but, we're both moms. So I'd say up to like 4. I really was struggling with the identity aspect, and maybe even a little bit now, but I have more time. Right. But struggling with the identity aspect of like, I am mom. And pretty much that's all I am to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And then where is also just Erin.
Right.
So I didn't feel that as much I felt that with Buela, like I just said, but I didn't feel that as much for Imani. I also didn't feel like the crushed with exhaustion of younger children feeling. That
maybe it's because she was young and also had
that might be part of it. There's just so many deep feelings that I was like, I'm not feeling that deep feeling of the wildness of toddlerhood as much. Like Sometimes you just get woken up by a ceramic pumpkin smashing you in the lip by your 2-year-old, or like your kid has a complete meltdown in a restaurant and everybody's kind of like not looking, but looking a little bit. And you're feeling that whole sense of like, are they judging me as a parent? Should I be taking them out? Should I be letting this ride? Should I be more strict? Are people all having their different perspectives on what's happening right now? And it feels very tense.
Yes.
None of that kind of thing happened.
Oh, okay.
Emma is a really chill baby, and Amani felt like a pretty chill mom, and that she was going to go with the flow, and she took care of things. Mm-hmm. She was just standing up and doing the job, which I think you do, but there's all sorts of there's all sorts of inner turmoil also happening at the same time.
Always.
So I think, though, that it was a really feel-good book, and that maybe Elizabeth Acevedo was making this feel like, hey, it's manageable, and also like it's not the end, you know?
Yeah.
You have options. There's these other passions. There's experiences ahead. And I think that worked really well for it.
Awesome.
It just, for my relationship to the motherhood experience, didn't jive.
Gotcha.
So
that's okay.
You know?
Yeah, we all do have different experiences.
Yes.
And it's not the end of the world.
No.
Just sometimes.
But it's complicated sometimes. Sometimes it's just complicated.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about the food, because I love food in books. Mm-hmm. So since Imani is very into cooking, I am sure there's really good food stuff. Are there recipes? Mm-hmm. Should there be? There are recipes. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, they're not frequent. I would have totally been on board for more recipes even, but they are in there. And I love them because they have this, they have these unique titles. So, for instance, there's When the World Tries to Break You, Break Beer Bread with Those You Love recipe.
Oh, wow.
And then she'll give instructions on time based on music. So for the bread, it says like bake as long as Bad Bunny's last album. Or for other ones, it's like just stir for the amount of time of a Cardi B song or something like that. She also had No Use Crying Over Strawberry Milk recipe, which is made with real strawberry syrup. And I think I just want to go and make all of it.
Oh my gosh.
I definitely wanted that one. I didn't try it yet, but I'm going to. At the very beginning, it starts right out, pulls you right in with this delicious food. And the title of that recipe is When Life Gives You Lemons, Make Lemon Verbena Tembleque.
Oh.
And it says serves your heart when you're missing someone you love. And you want to think coconut milk, vanilla, sugar, lemon verbena leaves, vanilla beans. It sounds amazing. Yes.
Yes. All right,
I mean, one of the things I was like, how's she like buying all these vanilla beans? Because I know vanilla beans are expensive, but she's got the daycare and
I know. Well, that's true.
But, you know.
Suspension of disbelief.
Sure.
Sometimes you just got to go with it.
Sometimes you just have to buy the vanilla beans, too, even if you it means.
If you're going to be making something really
delicious and meaningful.
And special,
yes.
You got to go whole
And
hog.
people, when they eat her food, feel these feelings. So they'll like, someone's just crying over.
Oh my gosh. Is it like magical?
Kind of a little bit in there it is. She imbues them with feeling. So.
I need to read this book.
I think it was lovely. I think you'd like it.
Okay. So Elizabeth Acevedo's first novel was like amazing.
Yes, Poet X.
Yes, I read it last year, talked about it here on this very podcast. Mm-hmm. It sounds like this is a great follow-up.
Yes.
Who do you think would love reading it? Whose hands would you place this book into?
I think it's a great read for anyone, but specifically aspiring foodies would be all about it. Anybody who loves contemporary novels, this is your next contemporary read. Possibly teen moms might find some comfort in it as well. So that would be my list. Awesome. But really, it's just like, if you're looking for a good book, read it.
I want to read it.
Do it.
All right. So let's talk about what's coming up next.
All right. We talked about reading a book that we normally wouldn't read. So we kind of just judging a book by its cover, but in a bad way, I guess. Yeah. Sort of like, I looked at this and I thought, I don't want to read this book, and then pick that one.
Yep.
So which one did you pick?
So I picked Mike by Andrew Norris.
Tell me a little bit about the cover there.
So the cover is interesting. It's kind of got like a Napoleon Dynamite-ish feel.
It does, yeah.
Where it just says Mike in big red letters, and then right in front of it is a male appearing person who's turned with is his back to us. And there's like a sweatband on like curly reddish hair.
Yes.
A button-up Oxford type shirt, some gym shorts, and some like 80s style high
There's a goldfish in a bag, too.
And a goldfish in a bag right next to him.
All right.
On the left.
Well, we'll see what that one's like.
So, yep.
I picked Gut Check by Eric Kester, which looks a lot like yours, which also is a blue cover with some red writing. It looks like it's at a football stadium. There's a guy with like some frumpy jeans on and some stadium lights. So
yeah, I think they're both about
sports
and...
So this is good because it actually will hit a demographic that maybe we don't normally read.
Obviously,
and we can be more aware.
Ever reading these books.
So let's get on them.
Pick them. So
all right, let's do it. So remember, if you get a chance to answer our 2 questions, those are, did you hunt down any local mysteries when you were a teen? Are you hunting any down now? And go ahead, Courtney.
Oh, sorry. Did you doodle? Or write notes in class?
And were you listening when you were doing that?
I did. You know what? When you're writing notes, you're not listening.
Well, yeah, that's true. Sometimes not. Likewise, if you have any questions about reading recommendations or library life, I can't talk today.
Yeah, you got it.
Please write to us at teentitletalk@gmail.com, and we'll read a few of our listener responses next time.
Thanks for joining us for Teen Title Talk. This podcast is brought to you by the Derry Public Library and Derry-CAM, Derry Community Access Media, empowering independent voices. As always, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Google Play, and Player FM. Just search for Teen Title Talk. Don't forget to hit follow so you can hear the latest episode. Our theme was created and performed by Banded Starling. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.